Jackie, Breaker.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris's first starring movie is a trucking movie that came out in 1977, and let's place it on the trucker movie timeline. We've been watching a lot of trucker movies here at Redneck.
White Line Fever, that's 1970.
74, I believe, right there on the trucker timeline.
Yep.
Then I guess the next proper trucking movie would be...
Have you ever made a mistake?
Why, sure.
Of course you have. We all have.
Sure, Chuck Norris.
Many times it's hard to face up to that mistake because it means you may be laughed at or punished.
Yeah.
But when you do face up to your mistake and know you'll never do it again,
That's true.
and you become a much stronger person.
Yeah.
And we needed all that strength on the island of the walking dead.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, at the end, I agreed with all of it, tell you.
It seems like it's just too specific. I don't know if it applies to everyone.
Yeah. Well, what was the next trucker movie? Yeah.
1974 was White Line Fever.
That's what I said.
We have a great episode on that if you want to go back through.
Please do, yeah.
And then after that, I guess the next one would be...
You know,
Yeah?
there are people in the world who believe that violence is the answer to every problem.
I am.
They're always the first ones to clench a fist or throw a punch.
I hate those people.
They think they always have to fight. The gang and I ran into the Claw and some of his more nasty friends while we were transporting a state-of-the-art robot on what turned out to be a terror train.
What?
Terror train?
A robot that was state of what?
I think it's... If you're on a terror train, I think it's okay to use violence.
I understood everything Chuck Norris saying up in. He's going to talk about bullies. I get that, but I don't what a cloud train. What
Chuck Norris hates violence, but the terror train.
I don't know.
I guess things.
All right. Anyway, never mind. 1974. White Line Fever.
White Line Fever. I believe we could say is generally accepted to be the first. As we know of them, trucker movie, right? 70s, and then so I guess the next one would be, if you're thinking about it and you're ranking them on this trucker timeline, then the second movie after White Line Fever is going to be.
Sometimes the things we want most are the hardest to get.
Well, that's true.
That means you have to be even more determined to succeed.
Okay,
that's what it takes to be a winner. You have to want it bad enough to stick with it no matter how tough things get.
No, you're right.
Yeah,
and things got pretty tough for us down in Florida with the deadly dolphins.
That's too specific to be applied to my particular situation.
Deadly dolphins?
There's a universal quality to the best metaphors. And Chuck Norris's parables are just all over the place.
I thought dolphins were nice. I
thought Chuck Norris loved violence.
I'm confused.
Right turn, line.
What they're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
Redneck Matinee.
Ain't gonna hurt.
You got the one snowman now. He's bound and down.
Hey there, everybody. This is Jackie Bros.
Folks, people, this is Dunlap. Welcome to Redneck Matinee. We got a great truckin' and kickin' movie for you today. It's called Breaker. Chuck Norris's first starring role, 1977, directed by Don Hulette. Jackie?
Yeah?
Do you like Chuck Norris?
I like Chuck Norris. And to be honest now, we'll get into what I think about the movie later, but Chuck Norris is not Chuck Norris, really. I mean, he is, but he didn't become Chuck Norris till later on, is what I'm saying. This is his first thing. I like Walker, Texas Ranger.
This movie is... You're saying he's not Chuck Norris in it because he doesn't have a mustache or a beard?
No, he's Chuck Norris, but he's not... He little green around the gills. And I know lots of people out there say Chuck Norris ain't a great actor, but when you see this and compare it to what he does now, you'd be like, well, he come a long way.
Well, Chuck Norris is one of the people who says he wasn't a good actor, Jackie, because I have in my hands Chuck Norris with Ken Abraham, Against All Odds. His autobiography, which really should have been subtitled Take a Chuck at Me Now. And Chuck Norris says, when the film was finished, and he's talking about Good Guys Wear Black, everyone congratulated me on doing a commendable job. When I look back on the picture now, I realize that they were just being kind, because I was not a very good actor. But it was the best I could do at the time. The movie was successful despite my lack of experience, because I created an image people enjoyed seeing. And he was pals with Steve McQueen. Steve McQueen said, don't talk so much. Let other people talk, the good actors. and you come in with like a good line every once in a while.
And then kick someone in the face.
Kick somebody in the face.
Yeah.
That's the McQueen method. They got him an acting coach. You remember Lost in Space?
Yeah.
You remember Jonathan Harris on there?
Oh, yeah.
The mean old man?
He was a mean one, yeah.
Dr. Smith?
Always getting in mischief, yeah.
Thankfully, the producers hired Jonathan Harris, a voice and drama coach, to help me with my lines. Jonathan had starred in the television series Lost in Space, a very proper man who enunciated every word as though he were reciting Shakespeare. One day, Jonathan came over to me, put his fingers in my mouth, and stretched it wide open. Oh. Open your mouth, he screamed. He was trying to get him to enunciate. Jonathan, you're the only man in the world who could do that to me and get away with it, I said when he finally let me go. I know, he said with a smile. Yeah. He had his fingers all in Chuck Norris's mouth. He couldn't do the goddamn thing.
All right.
Because he was so scared about acting.
Look, now, this is on Good Guys Wear Black, right?
Yes.
So all this, he didn't have any acting coach on this movie here.
Imagine that. Imagine how bad he is in Good Guys Wear Black and double it.
Yeah.
In 1976, I was asked by another small independent production company to star in Breaker Breaker, a movie about a trucker who uses his citizens band radio and the help of other truckers to thwart a corrupt judge who controls a town with an unfair speed trap.
That's one way to sum it
That's
up.
pretty good.
Yeah.
The title comes from the phrase used by truckers when they called for help on their CB radios. Is that
help? Breaker? Does that mean help?
He was paid $10,000 for the role. He needed the money. Didn't even play in L.A. Said they had to fly to San Francisco to see it. Says the picture eventually did fairly well at the box office, but because my name was hardly mentioned in the advertising, it did nothing for his acting career.
Well, maybe that's the best thing for him at the time.
I mean, Chuck Norris gets out of the Army, starts a bunch of karate schools. He's a karate champ. He's kind of famous, you know.
Sure, yeah.
Around in karate circles.
He fought Bruce Lee or something in one of those movies.
Return of the Dragon, that's his first a big break.
Yeah.
So after that, he's teaching all these Hollywood actors like Steve McQueen and Bob Barker. You know, that famous Hollywood actor, Bob Barker.
Bob Barker.
He taught Bob Barker karate, and Bob Barker really got into it. And in his book, he says, years later, Bob was still able to perform many of the karate moves I taught him. He put his martial arts abilities to good use in the golf farce Happy Gilmore. Although the movie contains unnecessary profanity and sexual innuendo, I laughed uproariously at Bob's performance.
Well, he right about that.
So Chuck Norris, Steve McQueen's like, you should be an actor. Chuck Norris is like, shit, all right. So he takes some acting classes, and this is in the book too, and an acting student's like, you suck. And he said, teacher, I'll take advice from you, but not from you.
And kicked him in the face.
No, just walked out.
Okay, well, that's
just
good.
give up. And then soon enough, he was starring in Breaker Breaker and trying to get Good Guys Wear Black made, and a Marilyn Beck column from April 26, 1977 says karate champ Chuck Norris is the latest jock who thinks acting stardom awaits. He's already worked in Return of the Dragon with the late Bruce Lee. It's featured in AIP's current low-budget exploitation film Breaker Breaker, and she did not include the exclamation points.
Uh-oh.
And now starts work on the $2.5 million Good Guys Wear Black. So Breaker Breaker is a low point in the Chuck Norris film oeuvre.
And I'm going to go say it's sort of a low point in the trucker, I would say, movies as well.
And yet I love it.
Oh, well, we'll get into that, yeah.
Chuck Norris says it's his daddy's favorite movie.
Did he?
Yeah. But what's his dad know?
I don't know his dad, yeah.
So Chuck Norris eventually becomes a huge star, makes such films that you might remember from the 1980s video stores as Force of One, Octagon, Eye for an Eye, Silent Rage, Forced Vengeance, Lone Wolf McQuade. Started working with Cannon, Golden Globus, Mission in Action 2, Invasion USA. You like them movies?
Some of them good, yeah.
He does have a movie from 1995 called Top Dog.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Jake Wilder is partnered with Reno, a police dog whose handler was killed. Jake and Reno investigate a plot by domestic terrorists to attack a conference on Unity. I'd like to see the 90s Chuck Norris. I think I'd stopped watching a lot of these by the time he was doing Walker, Texas Ranger, because why buy the cow when you get the milk for free, right?
Know, that's true, yeah.
And in the 1994 edition of the World Wrestling Federation Survivor Series, Norris was the special outside enforcer for the casket match between The Undertaker and Yokozuna. During the match, Norris delivered a roundhouse kick to an interfering Jeff Jarrett.
Multi-talented Chuck Norris.
He's all over the place.
Yeah.
Listen, director Don Hulette was a former race car driver who directed and produced Breaker Breaker, who made 2 other movies, A Great Ride and 1982's Tennessee Stud. You ever heard of that?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Which is about Tennessee walking horses and set in Shelbyville, Tennessee. Tennessee connection.
All right. So there's a connection there, yeah.
Filmed around Athens, Georgia.
Oh, well.
It's hard to find. Probably because nobody wants to watch it. One of the Landers sisters is in it. Don also composed the music and co-wrote the songs. Everybody knows the world-famous theme song to Breaker Breaker.
Breaker, breaker. Hey, Break 21, you got the highway flyer, son of a gun. Get your ears on to listen to this trucker song. I'll never make Tucson. Highway aspirin's all gone. I said, all gone. Need a truck stop lady that's nice and sweet to rub my stiff back in my feet. She'll make me whistle and sing in the sack. You keep the lipstick off the dipstick. Now, that's a fact.
I'll catch you on down the slab, shaky.
It sounds like maybe he should have stayed a race car driver.
I've heard a lot of mid-70s hastily composed cash-in trucker songs in my day, and that's really not good. That was in a movie. I mean, sort of.
So, it's sort of a movie, I guess, yeah.
Actor George Murdock. Jackie, who's your favorite actor in this movie?
George Murdock.
Actor George Murdock, who plays Judge Joshua Trimmins, has been on basically every TV show. His IMDb is TV Guide from 1967.
Oh, you recognize him from a lot of things. Oh, yeah.
He was on Twilight Zone, a dummy one of the dummy ones.
Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Battlestar Galactica as Dr. Salick?
Lauren Green let me down with that, but yeah.
What'd you want him to do? On a horse? Space horse?
Melandra.
Actor George Murdock wears a really unflattering space tunic in Battlestar Galactica. He recurred on Barney Miller as Internal Affairs Lieutenant Scanlon.
Oh, yeah.
He was on the Dukes of Hazzard and the Misadventures of Sheriff Lobo.
All right, yeah.
And he was God in Star Trek V.
It will carry my power to every corner of creation.
Excuse me, I'd just like to ask a question. What does God need with a starship?
That's right. God don't need no starship. You can't tell Captain Kirk that you're God and think you can trick him. You ain't fooling Captain Kirk. No, sir. He's good.
Actor Jack Nance. Jackie, who's your other favorite actor in this movie?
That'd be actor Jack Nance.
Actor Jack Nance of Eraserhead and other David Lynch movies, Twin Peaks. He's on Twin Peaks, wrapped in plastic. You remember?
Huh?
He was probably glad to do David Lynch movies after this. It's good to work on something normal.
Yeah.
But the other person, Jackie, who went on to have probably the biggest career out of all these people was Miranda Garrison. That's the doll lady.
What?
In this movie, folks, we're going to talk about this in a second, but there's this bar filled with creepy dolls, and there's a creepy doll lady behind it.
Strange. But yeah, she don't do nothing but giggle and look at him.
Basically non-speaking, just mostly creepily giggling part.
Yeah, dressed like a doll herself, yeah.
She nails it.
Yeah.
She will go on to a career as a choreographer, assisting Kenny Ortega on Dirty Dancing, appearing as Bungalow Bunny Vivian Pressman.
Oh.
In Dirty Dancing. She choreographed Selena, Dirty Dancing Havana Nights. She worked on Xanadu. She worked on Evita. And she judged the British reality TV competition Dirty Dancing, The Time of Your Life. Huge choreographer. Worked for years and years. Oh, and the movie was edited by Oscar-winning screenwriter Steve Zalian.
Oh, yeah. Wrote Schindler's List.
That's him.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, yeah. Well, let me make this perfectly clear so everybody understands this. If you listen to this, Breaker Breaker is not a good movie. This is not a good movie. This is not a well-made movie. It is a poorly directed movie. It is a poorly acted film.
Mm-hmm. If you like action, though, you're going to be disappointed because also the action's not great.
Not very good. Now, if you enjoy terrible acting, terrible directing, and just all around god awfulness of movies, you're gonna have a good time with this.
Yeah, if that's your bag, this movie was made for you. Oh, and if you like trucking movies, you're gonna be disappointed also.
There's no hardly any trucking. Okay, the first thing you see as soon as the movie opens up is a bicycle. You're looking at a bicycle tire. Smokey and the Bandit opens up. You got truck grill. Look at here we go. Big rig. Every other one of them. This is the thing. It's got breaker in the title, for goodness sake. You think, here we go. And it's a bicycle tire, and we're in this weird little town. I mean, this is not a trucking movie. Let's make that clear. They were trying to obviously, capitalize on that sort of thing. But this is not what I would call a trucking movie at all, no.
No, a good trucking movie doesn't start off with a bicycle. It doesn't start off with a town getting its city charter.
Sons and daughters, I give you Texas City, California.
Now, Texas City, California is unlike any town I've ever seen in real life, for sure, and I guess in any movie, except maybe that Powers Boothe Jim Jones movie.
Is it supposed to be a cult? Because it seems really culty, and they never really go as far as calling it a cult. And then later, he just seems kind of like Boss Hogg running a crooked town.
It's like if everybody at a Trump rally took over and held a town, just controlled the town.
Don't they already control like half the towns in Alabama? Like the American South, don't they control in the Midwest? And also like old iron towns don't they pretty much control a lot of things already?
Well, now that you say that, yeah, I guess you could look at this movie sort of like it's a documentary concerning that in some regards, but I sure wouldn't want to go to this town. This town looks awful. And are the real Trump towns run down as bad as this one? I guess they are.
Is everybody related to each other in those towns like they are in this one, too? Because everybody's like, that's my cousin, uncle, that's
my brother, my sister.
Everybody seems related.
Yeah.
So it seems like some sort of weird cult or maybe like a family reunion where everybody loves Trump. I'm going to say the mayor might not like Trump. He might be the person who's like, and then that imbecile in the White House. And everybody said, there goes Granddad again.
Yeah. And he's not, this character, Judge Joshua Trimmins, he's either the cult leader, he's a judge, but I guess he runs everything. Mayor runs everything.
It's a Trimmings Enterprise. Yeah. All these little businesses have signs on that say a Trimmings Enterprise.
Yeah. And so the first thing I asked myself, like, what the hell is this? People on bicycles just run. And it's a cheap movie. Everything's run down. Like the little restaurant and stuff. Hee-Haw had a better sets of like a diner than this place does. Everything looks terribly made. It just doesn't look like they put much effort in. I'm sure they didn't have a lot of money to make this, obviously. But, Judge
it's
Joshua.
Like they found a dead, like, ghost town made of cheap-ass plywood, and they just turned that into a thing. And, well, of course, this town is made of plywood, as all real freedom-loving towns on the American frontier are. They have to set it up for trucks to run through it.
Yeah, they have to set it up for. That's all this is about, by the way. If you're waiting for the trucking part, it takes a little while to get there. But
when it does, though, it's pretty. They run right through this town.
Yeah,
no spoilers, but that's what happens.
That's what. Yeah, we wait.
Movie.
Well, you see,
that's a spoiler.
They take over the one truck, and then that's it for trucks until the very end of the movie. Then there are no more trucks until you got to wait till the end. Now it's kind of worth it. One thing that we're discovering about these trucking movies, it really ain't a trucking movie unless a big rig runs through a house, a big sign, a monument of some sort. That has to happen. I think it does in all of these, maybe except for Smokey and the Bandit. A little car does most of that, but the rest of them seem like Convoy, White Line Fever. There, you got to run a truck through something.
Convoy, they run through a town.
Yeah,
which came out the year after Breaker.
Yeah.
And then in White Line Fever, they run through a sign.
Big sign, yeah.
Big sign. Trucks in movies are meant to run through things. And hats off to the brave men and women who created these first trucking movies of the 70s, because they said, well, we got a truck. It's got to run through, possibly blow up.
Yeah. Write down about 8 things that we can run through, and I'll pick 2 or 3 of them depending on the budget of it, and that's what we'll do. And they run through this one. I have to say it's not as exciting because it's like a bunch of trucks. It's good. You seeing trucks run through stuff, but it's like watching trucks run over like a fort that some kid made in the backyard. Which I mean, that's still entertaining, not with a child in it or anything like that. But
I do like also in this town, everybody has 70s hair, which is really bowl cut and thick and it shimmies as they kick each other in the stomach.
Yeah.
So it's good 70s fight hair. I don't know if the people who run this town are mostly stuntmen buddies or like karate school students of Chuck Norris. They're not actors, I would say. I don't think they're actors. There's that one guy, he's a butcher or something, got a mustache, like fat. Looked like, damn, everybody I remember from 1982. Like in the back of my memory, it's just a foggy, like the last member of a country group, like the fourth. Like, wasn't there somebody else in Alabama? It looks like this guy. It looks like Ricky Skaggs gone to sea. Like if Ricky Skaggs just ate like donuts and drunk like heavy cream, it looked like this old boy.
Chuck Norris's little brother is about to head out on his first. It's his first, from what I understood, big haul, right? His first trucking job.
Yeah, it's his first trucking job. Chuck Norris has to give him instructions not to get ripped off by the TV dinner people.
Yeah.
Billy, this is your first solo run. And I know you don't like to be lectured by your big brother, but I want you to watch those guys over at Shelley Foods. Don't trust them because they'll overload the reefer. Hear what I'm saying?
I hear ya.
I want you to weigh the load before you put it on the road, okay?
I will. What am I hauling anyway?
TV dinners.
Yeah. If it's from Shelley,
it's good for your belly.
Yeah, I think I'll puke.
If this is your first trucking big haul, you probably should know what it is you're hauling, shouldn't you?
I feel like, has he been trained at all? He just rides a dirt bike as far as I can tell.
That's all it does in the beginning of it. You don't really know that they're brothers, and you see
because this kid's like 18 tops, and Chuck Norris is like 38.
Yeah. Yeah. First off, Chuck Norris don't look right because he ain't got no facial hair. There's something that's a little odd that don't look right. You kind of get used to it, but you really don't, because when they come back and do a close-up of his face, you go, he hadn't got the mustache yet. So
No, there's a very cadaver quality to his face in this. No offense, Chuck Norris. Some people just look like their face has been made up to be laid in a coffin. That's just, you just have a cadaverous face.
Yeah.
You need a mustache or a beard to cover that up.
Yeah, you need something to bring life to your face. That's what you got to have. Yeah, because but yeah, when we first see Chuck Norris, he pulls over the side of the road and he's watching these young men, bunch of young men, and then one man probably 45, like he just got off work, and they're all on.
Kids in just regular 70s dirt bike clothes, which is what everybody wore.
Yeah,
and then one guy looks like he temps at a financial organization. He's just like, just stumbled upon. Can you mind if I?
First you think, well, maybe he's a chaperone, that these kids need chaperone, but then his brother is sending them off to haul a load across the country. So they don't need no chaperone. I don't
listen. You shouldn't. If you're being picked up to drive a truck from the dirt bike track, I don't think you're qualified to get behind that wheel.
No,
that dangerous wheel.
Yeah,
you're right. It is a chaperone type situation. It looks like if there was a church group that dirt biked, which if there is, let me know, because I might like to talk to people about Jesus over the roar of an engine.
Right. Well, that's what it looks like anyway, yeah.
Because then I can be... Actually, that's a great place to have, like, church group is at a dirt bike track, because when people are like, you want to talk about Jesus? You can be like, what? I can't hear him.
Well, Chuck Norris is sitting there watching them try to talk about Jesus or whatever the hell it is they're doing. They're just running around, and they don't really understand why. He's kind of eerily watching these young people and the one old man, and then we soon discover that's his brother, his younger brother. They wrestle around, and then,
they roll down a hill.
Yeah.
They wrestle, and then they roll down a hill, And you keep wrestling way past the point. Somebody should have trimmed that.
Now, let's talk about, we mentioned earlier the acting in this film is not, nothing to write home about. And I don't want to pick on Chuck Norris because Lord knows I love Walker, Texas Ranger. This is one of his first movies here. I think this is his first lead performance. Now, some people may think like even later in his career, Chuck Norris was not the greatest actor in the world. But if you don't think he's a good actor in his later career, I beg to differ with you, because if you watch him in this, he definitely got better, I think. Definitely over the years.
I mean, there's no way he could get worse.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest, just some facial hair probably helped.
That helped a lot. It does, little things like that does help. But everything he does other than kick somebody, it does not look natural, does not seem right. He walks into a room, it don't seem right. Him just walking down the road, him getting startled, him waking up from a bad dream, on and on and on. Every one of it seems very mannered and odd. Him eating a salad don't look right.
No.
Nothing in it. Now, when he kicks someone in the face, hey, there you go.
That's nothing to be ashamed of.
And
most people can't kick.
Fortunately, he does that very, very well. I'll give him credit. Like, oh, hell, look at him go.
This is a movie based on Chuck Norris kicking people. That is what the whole film centers around, him kicking people. Not punching people. He does a little punching, a little hitting people with a stick. Mostly, primarily, kicking. They padded it with some trucking, with some CB talk, with some dirt biking, with some van driving. Mostly kicking.
Let's say they padded it way too much with this other stuff, because you say, do you want to see a good Chuck Norris kicking movie? I'm saying, hell yeah, sign me up for that. There's a lot of unnecessary stuff in this. I don't understand. Now, I enjoy every minute of its awfulness, don't get me wrong, awkwardness, all of that. I don't mean to, come down on it too hard, but again, this is not a good movie. This is not a well-made movie. If you like a bad movie, boy, you sure gonna like this, I tell you what. Now, after he sends his brother off, to, on his first trucking job.
First of all, trucking finally shows back up in the movie is Chuck Norris's little brother, the Scott Baio cosplayer.
Yeah. And
not Chuck Norris.
Not Chuck Norris. We want to see him. Chuck Norris, now at the very beginning, he is, in a truck. He's driving a truck eventually after we see this town, this strange whatever kind of town. We do see him riding a truck just for a little while. That's the last time we see him in a truck. After that first few minutes, when the opening credits come on, you ain't going to see much else. And let's be honest here, that's kind of a good thing, because, again, like everything else, him doing CB talk, I'm going to say so far out of the movies we watched so far, he's the worst CB talker that we've seen.
Yeah, by far. He's not a good CB talker.
Much better kicker than Jerry Reed.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt.
Jerry Reed probably hard, at that point in his career, hard for him to get that leg up. But yeah, Chuck Norris.
Chris Christopherson, way too high to kick anybody. He ain't gonna kick nobody. He's going to take his shirt off and be high on drugs. That's it.
He's just going to roll around and stink.
Yeah.
Chuck Norris, great kicker.
Yeah.
I'd say Chuck Norris of all, maybe Jan Michael Vincent was in pretty good shape, but of the truck driving movies we've seen so far, Chuck Norris, best shape of all the leads.
Jan Michael Vincent, much better CB talker than Chuck Norris.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
He wasn't that great.
Breaker 2-1.
Go ahead, Breaker, do it to it.
This is J.D. Dobbs, southbound on 99. Any 18-wheelers out there with ears on, come back.
Well, by golly, J.D., it sure is a pleasure to hear you back in town. You got the California rag man. Hey, good buddy, I hear it works pretty good up there in Alaska.
Can't say much for the work, but the money's good.
Jan Michael Vincent better than that.
I just realizing that's the setup for the movie, that he's coming back from being a trucker in Alaska.
Yeah.
I wonder if he kicked a Kodiak. So also not a good CB talker is Chuck Norris's little brother, who's going down the road with his load of Shelley TV dinners when a cop from Texas City, California, the made-up, cheap-ass, poorly constructed speed trap of a town run by some kind of cult leader / boss hog.
Yeah.
It is weird that it's set up to be sort of weird and religious, and everybody's a family, and it's strange, and then it's just basically a speed trap.
That's all it is. They strip these trucks, sell the parts, take the TV dinners, whatever they want. That's all it is. It's a little more than a speed trap.
They sell moonshine. It is like a criminal enterprise, but it's just Boss Hogg.
Pretty much, yeah.
It's just like if Boss Hogg got his family to live on a compound and called it a town.
Yeah.
And so hung out at the boar's nest.
Yeah.
So anyway, Chuck Norris goes to a diner.
Now, this is still a little trucking part of it. It seems like, anyway.
There are truckers in the diner.
We seem like we're going to do some more trucking. Now, these are very extravagant truckers. Is that what you call them? If you wear a pirate hat, like
they dress up as, it's sort of like science fiction, like Mad Max truckers, I guess. They all got a little weird costume and a theme.
But we're familiar with this kind of, here's a truck diner, there's a waitresses complaining about, truck drivers grabbing them here, there, all that, let them do what they want, and they feel guilty, and they'll tip you after. So this is from a familiar setting. Also, we should mention here's one of probably the finest actor in the entire movie is sitting across from Chuck Norris when they're eating the salads, and this old eraser head.
I was hauling a barnyard of pigs the other day, and by the time I got home, I couldn't even smell my own feet. I still can't smell. Ruined my nose.
Old Eraserhead is in this movie. Jack Nance from David Lynch films, best known from David Lynch films. He's sitting in there, and this is something that this movie probably doesn't get enough credit for, and I haven't seen this in a lot of other movies, but they really highlight the struggle of getting through that watery first course salad you get in a diner. And I like the fact that they actually have them bring out a little bowl of salad for them that they're eating before they get to whatever sandwich they get later. They get a sandwich.
The special, the regular, whatever. The regular.
I'll have my,
I'll have a regular, yeah.
Yeah, and then Jack Nance like, yeah, I'll have the...
Yeah, watching Chuck Norris try to eat a salad is not the most pleasant thing. It just takes you out of a movie, whatever's going on.
He's really concentrating hard on eating that salad and saying lines.
Well, here's the whole thing. Now, this reminds me, I wonder if old Rocky saw this, because he's this big old wrestler-looking man, bald-headed big, and his pirate-wearing, hat-wearing friends come over, and they want to arm wrestle Chuck Norris. Now, that's what old Rocky did in his truck driving movie, am I right?
Over the top.
Oh, that's right, over the top.
It's also truckers and arm wrestling.
Yeah, and they truck runs through things, in that as well, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So right here, it's like you have this big. He comes over. I want to wrestle you, and Chuck Norris trying to be all cool while he's eating a salad, which that
not cool at all.
Doesn't go good together. It just seems a little odd.
I'm glad that there's salad representation in this film, but it also seems timing is a little off. Maybe they should have had the salad already, and him and Jack Nance, and this lettuce is good, Chuck.
Maybe biting into a sandwich would be a little bit, but yeah, when you trying to be a tough guy while you take bites of lettuce, it just don't seem to play well.
But I do like that the challenger, the great John L., who comes over to with the big handlebar mustache, says, "I'm going to put you down, champ." Calls him champ. Like, at this point, you could be confused as, is this going to be an arm wrestling movie?
Sure.
But nope, just one brief scene. But I do like that the great John L. says, "No, I will not disturb your supper."
Yeah.
Very polite.
Very polite for someone trying to throw down an arm wrestling challenge. Very polite about it.
Everybody knows you don't mess with somebody's supper.
Yeah, while they're sitting there eating, there's no reason to...
And Chuck Norris has to remind, like... You mind if I finish my lunch first? Or he says it worse than that.
Yeah.
That was like whatever.
You saying that you want to emit the way you just did it, but no.
That was like a Barrymore read it just then compared to Chuck Norris, but damn, like Drew Barrymore. But then he said, "Okay, so finish your salad," and they don't even rib him. Like that would, if I were the guy challenging Chuck Norris to an arm wrestling match, I'd say, "Oh, you eating a salad?"
That'd be the first thing out of your mouth.
Hey,
I heard you were the toughest man in town. Will you enjoying your little salad? I mean, that would be that. There's a good 15 minutes of that. Is what it should have been.
You got a little bowl of lettuce there.
But he's obviously just as like salad just as much as Chuck Norris. Well, you go on, finish your salad.
All right, so obviously this salad at this restaurant must be some of the best salad in California.
It's part of the regular. Whatever, I'll have the regular. They know that the salad's coming out first. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody can. You know what? Keep the sandwich. Bring me double on the salad.
Yeah.
And as soon as I finish it, I got to go arm wrestle.
Well, this arm wrestling doesn't seem to go too well. You think, oh, this is going to be exciting. They're taking bets and money's flying hand. And Jack Nance, his bug eyes getting excited. That's the best part of this whole section is his reaction shots to anything anybody says. They cut to Jack Nance's face, and he just, I can't, how do you describe it? Jack Nance's face. That's pretty much it.
It would have been a much better movie with a lot more Jack Nance.
Not enough of him. Best actor in the film, Jack Nance. There's a couple other performances. I would say the judge, the cult leader, he kind of knows what he's doing. Other than that, I ain't too sure about the rest of everybody else in this. Not too sure about him, huh?
So there's an arm wrestling competition with a fast, confusing bar fight in a restaurant.
Yeah, and that's over. You think, okay, here we go. This is going to be exciting. First off, the arm wrestling is not exciting at all. I think Rocky did it better in his movie because it's just kind of like Chuck Norris beats him. It's over, it's over. And then he gets mad and punches Chuck Norris, and you think, well, here we go. It's just real fast confusion, not really exciting. Like you said, action fans probably aren't going to appreciate the action in this movie.
But you might enjoy the costumes. So as this is going on, Chuck Norris's little brother, son, let's just call him his son. His brother's son is getting arrested and put in jail by the drunk judge, cult leader, mayor in Texas City, California.
Yeah.
And he attacks the cops instead of paying the $250 fine or doing 250 days in the slammer.
And one part
slammer.
I like about this, I think you mentioned that earlier, is to get away from him, he jumps through a window, which you see this a lot in movies. People jump through the window. This is the only, I'm going to give this movie a little credit. It does show you how dangerous jumping through a window because he covered in blood after he jumped through it. Most movie people get thrown in and out of windows over and over again. Hooper, how many times do people go through windows in that? I don't know. I've never seen anybody. Their hair gets messed up a little bit. But this Chuck Norris's brother's son, covered in blood, thrown through the window.
Usually in a movie, you jump through a window and you're going to make your escape. But he jumps through a window and is out for the count, which is how real life would be.
Yeah, you'd be cut up laying there for a minute. Yeah, that's what it is.
But I think this is a sign of an incompetent movie when they really bear down on these parts that in real life, sure, would fuck you up. But
hey, watch your mouth.
In a movie, it means something else. But maybe the director was like, hey, come here, everybody. Let's have a discussion. Okay. He crouches down on the ground. He's like, just digging in the dirt with a stick. He's like, I've been thinking about this part where he jumps through the window, and it doesn't seem realistic to me. I think he would be really bloody, and his mouth would be covered with flies, and he would be just laying on the corner, bleeding and crying. Well, that's the part where he gets away. We have him jump through the window so that he can escape from all the cops. Like in movies when you jump through the window and you escape. Like, no, I think this really fucks him up. Like, he's almost dead when he jumps through this window. We could end the movie now because he's so dead from being cut up by glass. Look, I don't care about the rest of this shit.
Hey.
But if one thing out of this movie survives throughout time, I want it to be that jumping through windows mess you up and salads are delicious and a necessary first course that no one should ever interrupt.
There's two things you could take.
I mean, those are true things. They're just not really movie things. Yeah. Here's your salad. I mean, if you got all the courses at it, in movies, you don't eat the whole thing. You never really see them eating. They don't bring everything out. They just get up and leave. You don't say bye when you hang up the phone in movies. You just hang up the phone. Movies would take like 6 hours if you always had to eat the salad. That's why you don't eat the salad.
Yeah.
You jump through a window, you get away. Anyway, but so the son gets fucked up jumping through that window.
Watch your mouth. Something else you mentioned about him, you said bugs on his mouth. If you watch this movie closely, and we watched it a couple of times, there's a lot of scenes where they close up on the actor. No, not depending on who it is, whether it's a bad judge or whether it's his. It doesn't matter. There are all these characters. There's bugs crawling all over people. Flies are flying around people's face.
You might see that once or twice in a regular movie, but in this movie, they are covered with flies.
Wherever they were making this movie, they had a bug problem. I mean, it'd be difficult for that to act, I think. It's like,
I don't know how many bugs Chuck Norris must have swallowed. Maybe that's why they kept taking dialogue from him. We think it's like, because he sucks as an actor, but it's because I'm not eating another fly. Like, if you have fake blood on you, you're going to have about 70 flies, and they probably have somebody off screen, like, shoot. There's a fly swatter in the movie at this scene where
he had to get your fly. But
before the brother son jumps through the window, they're literally swatting flies on screen. They're probably, just leave it in. Leave it in.
I just wonder if that was intentional. Do we need more? We need more bugs. There ain't enough bugs flying around his face in this scene.
Maybe. It's like salad, windows, and bugs. That's all he cares about.
I think there's like, in the scene where Chuck Norris finds, he meets a woman in town like all these movies again. I think they have an intimate scene where they're laying in bed or a van or somewhere.
It's in a van.
Yeah. And there's bugs flying around. That can't be intentional, is it? I don't know.
More bugs. I think it might be. Listen, again, if you're boning in a van,
all right, you don't have to.
There's going to be bugs. It's just the way it is.
I guess they won't be realistic because
I'm telling you, he cares about. Okay, the list that he cares about is bugs, windows, salads, and bugs after you bone in a van. Which they do, Jackie. I can tell you though, they really do. They get all over. There's a lot of places you don't really want them.
You wonder, is this the Amityville horror? Why are there flies on everybody? Is there a reason for that? But no, it's just what it is, I guess.
Maybe he'd just seen Amityville. What year did that come out?
I don't know. That's 70 sometime. That's old. We don't talk about those scary movies on here, but
we don't want to make anybody stay up all night.
But if you want to see some bad acting, you look at Rod Steiger and that flies all over. I get good, bad, however you want to look at it.
It's hard to tell. I don't know how I'd classify that.
I think every time I seen that, I go back and forth. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Listen, the 70s. We're really describing the 70s in just a few short words: bugs, flies, vans, boning.
Hey, don't have to get
dirt bikes, breaker. So, Chuck Norris, because he's a karate man, and let's do the list here. He's a truck driver.
Yeah.
He is an arm wrestler.
A pro, yeah, evidently.
He's a salad eater. Mm-hmm. And he is a karate man.
Well, they have to put this in here. It serves no purpose except for to be interrupted by a phone call. This is when we first get off the like, so far, dirt bikes are strange. Town being declared a town. All of this doesn't seem trucking, but we sends his brother son off. He's a truck driver, but now we had a big fight in the diner. All of these are checking off the list. And then here we have this moment.
Meditation is essential to the martial arts training. It is imperative that you develop yourself not only physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. To meditate, you must concentrate on what we call the third eye, the center, beginning right here. Close your eyes. As you're focusing, you'll notice that it will become brighter and brighter. Your total concentration is on the third eye.
Maybe turn the ringer off your telephone before you sit around with your buddies to do some concentrating. Now, he's in there with, 2 or 3 fellas we don't ever see anymore.
No, never see. At that point, I think, he's got a little team that's going to come back.
No, they're just in there in the ring with him.
Maybe he teaches meditation, karate, third eye class, phone call interruption class. Because it's infuriating, I'm sure, if you're Chuck Norris. I thought I told you not to call me. But if you're one of the people there, that must be infuriating too. But the 70s were all about phone calls interrupting things.
Yeah, I get it. Was it? I guess so, yeah.
Remember? Nobody ever got nothing done because the phone rang.
Yeah.
Now at least you can flip your phone over. You don't have to look at everything. Back then the phone rang. It's like, well, shit. This ain't voicemail.
Now I know.
Who is this? I got to find out. I got one chance. You got to get up. I'm talking about my third eye. My third eye is glowing. And Aunt Ruth is on the phone.
I know that Chuck Norris is a karate guy in real life, without a doubt. He kicks well, but for a karate guy, he doesn't even do that well. That doesn't sound good. Like if that was your teacher,
he should have got up and kicked the phone.
Yeah.
So that's when Jack Nance, Eraserhead, calls him and says, hey, they got your brother in Texas City. They got their own rules out there in Texas City. So Chuck Norris knows what he has to do. He has to go out and get in his van, which is a great van, probably the best van ever, possibly top 5 vans. This great airbrushed eagle on the side of this old 70s van. It's beautiful. It's more of a vanning movie than a trucking movie.
Yeah. If you like a vanning movie, then you want to see this van. I tell you that. This is something else, yeah.
So he gets in that van and he drives around basically MASH. It just looks like MASH out there.
Yeah, just like every episode of MASH where, Hawkeye gets lost in a Jeep or something driving around. It's the same thing. Dusty and, like Korea, yeah.
And then there's some people shooting at Chuck Norris in his van who turn out to be moonshiners, which just shows us that this Boss Hogg cult town has a few more irons in the fire than just Speed Trap. Then we get a scene where a cop has pulled over a man, a woman, and their dog. And the woman's like, you're not going to let him talk to me like that, are you, Wesley? And then the cop beats the husband up.
Yeah, beats her. And it was her that was talking, but I'm glad it didn't hit him.
No, I'm glad that didn't.
I don't want that to happen, but then he just beats the hell out of him. Yeah, she just made it worse for her husband.
And the dog is fine.
Oh, good.
Which was my primary concern at this point.
Sometimes,
the 70s.
70s, I'm about to say, an animal gets hurt. As soon as you get introduced to an animal in a lot of these movies where you know something bad going to happen, you get worried, you get concerned.
And then we get to go to one of the greatest sets in this terrible set town, which is the doll bar.
Now this is one of those culty things or whatever. This looks like Jack Nance should have been in this scene. It looked like all the David Lynch movies of his. This looks like something right out of that. It don't make a bit of sense. This judge, this evil judge that runs a town, mayor, judge, leader, cult leader, whatever you want to call him, is in here with this young lady in this makeshift bar with little dolls everywhere. Just all kinds of little dolls from around the world, little dolls in dresses, and they're just all over. It looks like, I don't know where the alcohol is in this bar. I guess underneath the bar, because all this behind her is a bunch of little dolls.
And who goes to this bar?
Evidently, only the judge goes. I think this is made just for him, because I don't ever see. The only time we go in here is when somebody goes in there to get him.
Because let's say that you're looking for a bar, and you're like, I could use a drink. Maybe I'll just pull over here and go to this bar. And you walk in there, and it's covered with creepy-ass dolls staring at you.
The woman running the place is dressed up like a doll herself.
Like a doll come to life.
Yeah, that's what she looks like, yeah.
And I would turn the fuck around.
Hey.
And get the fuck out of there.
I wouldn't go in there, yeah.
I've been to bars where I walked in and there's like 3 old boys with no teeth, guns, chickens, axes in the wall, people pissing on the floor. I've been to every kind of seedy, hayseed, hillbilly, scary, redneck motherfucking bar, biker bar ass. I would not go into the doll bar.
No.
It looks like Chucky is going to come out, wait till you're drunk, and then come out and stick a knife in your ear hole.
Yeah. Don't want to go in there. No.
The only people that would be comfortable going in there are like grandmas.
Yeah. Well, Chuck Norris does go in there, but things don't go too well for him. It just nothing. He goes in there to find out where his brother is, and the scene in the doll bar pretty much goes on like this.
Oh, yes. No, not me. No,
you tell her what you think of her, and you tell her what you want to do to her.
I'm looking for Judge Trimming.
Go on. I'd like to do that. No, not me. No. You have to tell what you want to do.
I want to lodge a complaint.
A complaint. Enos Domini. The greatest complaint of all. It is the usual fortune of complaint to excite contempt more than pity.
Am I wasting my time?
Time. The tooth that gnaws away at everything. But is powerless in the face of truth.
Now, if that sounds odd, which it does, you just got to keep in mind that the whole time he's talking there, he's got a little, this Judge Trimmins has a little puppet on his hand.
And then Chuck Norris asks him a question and gets ignored, and then he starts talking Shakespeare, and Chuck Norris just turns around and walks out, which is funny. Chuck Norris being annoyed by a weird town. It's basically Newhart with Chuck Norris.
Yeah, it is.
Except Chuck Norris isn't a good actor.
No, he does look, I give him credit. He's real good at kicking, and he kind of does a good job looking annoyed. I'll give him that.
So at this point, we also are introduced to Arnie, another member of the town cult who's related to everybody.
Now, this character, Arnie, the actor portraying him, we went back and forth. We couldn't decide whether he's the best actor in this, or second best after Jack Nance, or the worst actor. We're really not sure about that. Now, he's playing somebody that doesn't, I guess, what would you call him? Mentally challenged, or somebody, is that what you'd say?
There's something happening.
Something, yeah.
And the actor is making some bold choices, some big plays here.
Yeah.
And he is entertaining in a disturbing way, in a cringy. I'm not sure, but then again, most of the other people have trouble saying stop.
Yeah.
To Chuck Norris. Sure. Or if you're Chuck Norris, saying no. Like, people have trouble with some basic stuff, like rolling around on the ground or getting hit. So this guy playing Arnie is at least taking some big swings.
He put some effort in it, without a doubt.
I got your radiator.
Oh, very good.
My brother Wade can fix it. He can fix anything. Do you like my trike?
It's very nice.
My brother Wade, he gifted it to me for my birthday.
I had a brother, but I lost him.
Lost?
What's wrong?
My brother Wade, sometimes he tells me to get lost. Somewhere far away. In the dark. In the dark.
Okay, that's all right. Okay.
In the dark, yeah.
It's okay. You're going to hurt yourself with all that acting.
Yeah.
To Chuck Norris, it's like, I don't even know what this guy's on another plane. Compared to Chuck Norris is like, damn.
He's trying something again, and not entirely sure he's completely successful. And also, they say half of acting is the costume you're wearing. I'd say that.
And he's wearing a stripy shirt. He's got a little kerchief tied around his neck. He's wearing like an engineer's cap. He's dressed sort of like if Dennis the Menace. If the movie Big was about Dennis the Menace, and Dennis the Menace just become real big and was still dressed like Dennis the Menace.
He rides a little bike around. That little horn you heard is him honking on his little bike horn, yeah.
So we're at the damn town meeting where Chuck Norris... People are looking for Chuck Norris. He's just wandering around this town, but this town is like 3 stores, so I'm kind of confused. But people have houses. None of this makes any sense.
No, not one single bit of it. Yeah, they're having a big town meeting where they're going down the list of, we ripped off this many trucks this week, and I got this, and we sold this much moonshine, and the whole town's in there with this Judge Trimmins overseeing it. And they get rudely, well, not even rudely interrupted. He just kind of walks in there.
I don't give a damn about your moonshine, your rip-offs, or any other part of this town. All I want to know is where my brother is.
Your brother? Who's your brother?
He came into Texas City yesterday, and he hasn't been seen since.
Maybe we ought to step over to the police department.
I'm not going anywhere until I find out where my brother is.
Well, after this, if you're an action fan, you're finally going to get a little bit. A big fight ensues where Chuck Norris pretty much beats everybody up in the room for the most part.
He does. They chase him outside. He jumps up on the roof, jumps back down, startles the mayor, cult leader, sheriff, judge. But then doesn't do anything. He could have kicked him right then.
He didn't do nothing. Just stares at him, If he wants his brother so bad, spin his arm up around his back, threaten to break his arm, and say, "Where the hell my brother or my brother's son?" Or I'm going to snap it right here. I'll snap your wrist, your elbow, all of it. But he doesn't even do it.
Instead, he just sort of runs around and gets chased and kicked. He kicks. He gets chased and then he kicks. He gets cornered in an alley and he kicks his way out of the alley and he's just breaking and kicking and fighting. It's pretty good. Running, kicking.
That's, again, not the greatest fight choreography you've ever seen in a movie. This ain't John Wick. This is just, him running around the corner. Kicking is good. That's good. But that's pretty much what you see here as far as action. If you don't like this section here, you ain't going to like any of it.
It's not getting better.
No, this is what you get, yeah.
We also have a love interest that we haven't talked about, who apparently is the daughter-in-law of the mayor cult leader town judge, whose son apparently is dead. His son's name, this is also how confusing the movie is right off the bat. The son is dead. Something obviously happened there. We don't really find out what. The son's name is Tex, and that's why the name of the town is Texas City.
That explains more than just calling it Texas City, California, I guess.
So Arlene, his daughter-in-law, married to his dead son, hates him.
Oh, yeah.
She has a kid, and she works at the diner.
Poorly constructed,
The really cheap-ass. It looks like the set of a country music video from 1982. Or like a Christian. It's a Christian music video from 1992. Yeah. Even worse.
There's a good scene where Chuck Norris goes in there and orders a donut, and then they bond over that.
And then they have a quick scene where they walk around a tree and find out about each other's life, and a song plays, and there's some more bonding real fast. And then they're boning in a van pretty quickly after that.
Well, don't get into that. Yeah, this song they play is super, super short. It's almost as if we need a song that lasts about as long as a man will listen to a woman. And also walk around a tree. That's what they do.
It's about the same length of time.
Yeah, they walk around a tree. It's a real short song. Yeah.
And then it's van boning.
All right.
Van boning.
All right. You don't have to get into all that. But, yeah, they become intimate with one another. And their son seems to recognize this and sees this.
Are you and JD going to get married?
JD's just told me.
Well, you slept in his van last night.
I didn't sleep in his van. We just talked a while.
How many times was that question asked in the 70s? Are y'all going to get married? You slept in his van last night.
Yeah.
By children, by parents, by the people who slept in the van. Do we have to get married now? We boned.
All right.
In this van. First, I need to get a carpet steamer, and then I need to get a wedding ring.
All right.
That's the 70s for you.
Well, it is.
The things were confusing. Are we married? Are we married now? We boned in a van.
All right. Needless to say, them two becoming intimate, this infuriates this Judge Trimmings, and it makes him want to get this Chuck Norris all the more. Can't stand it, just miserable. He doesn't want to hear it. That's his grandson. He's being around. There's a whole scene where he's asking to go back to the van thing. He goes over and he's asking the grandson, got him in his lap. It's real creepy. It ain't good.
I forgot. They really do spend a lot of time. And where did he sleep?
Yeah. Did she sleep in the van? Yeah, just goes
well,
on.
as Shakespeare said, van boning. Just really upset by and I'm upset at this point. At first, it's been funny. I've made a lot of jokes about van boning, but now that the George Murdock is in there with a kid on his knee, interrogating him about who slept where and what's in the van smell like now. Very uncomfortable. But in his defense, if Chuck Norris drove his van into town and started laying my daughter-in-law, I probably would be upset too.
All right.
I mean, did you see that van with the eagle on the side?
I saw the van.
I mean, who wouldn't want to get boned in that van?
All right, I don't need to
boned in that van.
Get off of this subject. Yeah, he's upset. They can't catch Chuck Norris in the fort. How big is the town? We can't really get
There's a junkyard. It doesn't make any sense.
There's a house.
At what point, Chuck Norris says, there's only one place in town where they could hide that semi-truck. There's only 3 places in town. Take your pick. I guess it's a junkyard.
Doll bar.
Junkyard.
The judge's chambers or whatever you want to call it, courthouse.
Restaurant.
That's it. I don't know of any place else.
No, that's not really a town.
Yeah. But yeah, it just infuriated, which I would be upset too if I had like 4 or 5 police officers and they couldn't catch him in that amount of space. I'd be mad too.
I'm getting sick and tired of your lies and your alibis. As you've been doing your job first place, he wouldn't even be in this town.
But Judge,
Wait a minute, I told you to arrest him. Now where were you? What were you doing?
The guy's a bad dude. He's punched out half the town already.
He was unarmed, Stroll.
He punched out half the town, Jackie.
I saw him.
He punched out half the town. All 13 of us.
To be more literal about it, he didn't really punch him out. He kicked.
He kicked him out.
He kicked him out. Yeah, he didn't. I mean, he might do a little punching, but it's primarily a foot in everybody's face, gut.
If you got a knife, he's going to kick it out of your hand.
He's going to kick it out of your hand.
If you got a gun, he's going to kick it out of your hand.
Kicks a pitchfork out of somebody's hand.
If you got a pitchfork, man, what are you even doing? Didn't you see what happened to these other people?
I don't understand, yeah. It ain't going to happen. But, yeah, kick in the back, kick your legs out from underneath. Yeah, mostly kicking, I'd say. And very well at it. Good at it. Good kicker. No doubt. Chuck Norris.
Should have been called kicker.
I think so.
But it was not. It was called Breaker. And, folks, here's why. Here's the payoff. There is a chase through a sort of a chase. He's crawling around underneath cars in a junkyard while a helicopter. Do we have that clip? I don't know if we pulled that clip where the helicopter.
Well, we did. I don't know if it's going to make much sense if you listen to it. It's just a man screaming on a speaker from a helicopter. Over there. I don't know. It just goes on forever.
There is, they do play with this where the guy's like, what? And he's like screaming back, like, I'm looking for him. And they're trying to figure out if you can talk to somebody in a helicopter who's got a loudspeaker, but mostly it's just, we can't understand what they're saying. They can't understand what they're saying.
What do you want?
To be sure, that's a very small sample of that. That goes on for some time for a long scene where there's over there. Here he is over there. And also, we need to point out, this is you think of what the kind of movie we've been describing, you're probably thinking, how the hell they get a helicopter? This is a little rickety helicopter. It ain't much to it. It is a helicopter, mind you.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say somebody's friend owned a helicopter.
Yeah, but they didn't own it for long because that's one thing we get to see a truck run over is helicopters. You don't get to see that much. Now, again, this ain't a big military helicopter. This ain't Blue Thunder. This is just a little rickety, tiny helicopter. Impressive, nonetheless, it is.
It's a helicopter about the size that you can shout over when you're talking to people on the ground.
Yeah, that's what it is.
You know, one of them small ones.
A little helicopter. But it's primarily used for that purpose is screaming out of. I don't really know if they do much else that and get
if
run
you want
over.
to scream at somebody from like tree height, this is the helicopter you want.
This is what you want, yeah.
And it blows up real good. They do blow up a helicopter. Spoiler alert, it's probably the best explosion in the movie, the only one.
By far, that's it. Yeah, and that's kind of what happens. They catch Chuck Norris finally at some point. They try to put him in a damn not a trash compactor. It's a car
compactor.
Car compactor.
At one point, they were like, I think we need to go bigger on this. We can't just put him in a trash compactor. How are we going to afford a damn?
Yeah, they put him in there, and yeah, they it looks like they tear his hand up. They hit his hand with a hammer.
Hit his hand with a tire iron, which has happened to me several times. Listen, the son brother is still alive. He finds him.
In the barn. He's in the barn. Arnie, our mentally challenged special friend, lets him know that that's where his brother's son is, and then they're reunited. And at some point, his Arlene, right? Is that her name?
Arlene. She rides a dirt bike to escape. That's pretty cool.
Well, yeah.
If you have to escape in the 70s, you were escaping on a dirt bike. I think that's how some of Ted Bundy's victims got away. And so she gets on the dirt bike. She finds a police car. She gets a signal out to the truckers. And as I was saying, Breaker gets its name from these truckers coming in at the end and running them trucks through the 4 terribly constructed buildings that exist in the town of Texas City, California.
Yeah, I'm telling you, the truck's running through like the truck-in convoy, when it runs over the police station, got a little damage to it, but these trucks probably didn't get a scratch from running over this stuff. No, they're fine, shiny. Yeah, but we see a lot of trucks run over a lot of things. The helicopter, that's a fine, good point right there, running through that. And then there's a big showdown. I guess Chuck Norris, this was his first big showdown, I guess, in a starring movie with him and one of the tough guy cops, obviously not that tough, unable to catch him throughout the whole thing. And there's this odd little moment scene where they're going to have this big fight in a fenced in. There's a horse.
In a horse pen. There's a horse. I want to call it a horse fight, but unfortunately, he never fights the horse.
Horse just runs around through the fight, just circles them and runs
kind of
in
watches.
Between them. Yeah,
maybe he's shouting encouragement. I'm not sure. I think they're playing a song. It's slow motion, right? They're fighting alongside this horse.
This is the only moment in the film where they're actually trying to be, I would say, artistic in some sort of way, I guess. Is it?
Maybe it's Chuck Norris who's like, I insist on two things. I won't talk about the third eye. Well, can we have at least an exposition phone call? Like, that's fine. And then I want to fight in front of a horse. You want to fight a horse? No. Oh, because I was excited for a second. I just want to fight near a horse.
Well, they do plenty of that. There's a lot of fighting through near a horse. And the horse doesn't take to it very much. It's run like a horse does.
It does escape it does leap out the fence.
There's supposed to be some sort of, it has to be some sort of meaning for that or something.
There's a great slow motion scream where the bad guy's like, "You son of a bitch." It lasts a long time.
Yeah.
It sounds like but they really stretch it out, and they're sincere about it. Yeah, the horse escaped, but what does that mean? I guess this whole town.
Getting out of the town, I don't know.
Freedom. It's another one of these 70s movies where everything is about freedom.
All of them got that in it, yeah.
And maybe this is, I don't know who this is for. This horse escapes the town because the town was supposed to probably be about freedom, and they got this town charter. They started their own town out in the middle of California somewhere in the MASH part, and I don't know who was governor. This movie come out in 1977, so they filmed it in 1976. So Ronald Reagan, I don't know if they applied for the town charter under Ronald Reagan, or more than likely it was, of course, Jerry Brown.
Well, yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Give them a town charter, and then they get this town charter, and maybe it's supposed to be about freedom, how maybe the fetishization of freedom, how quickly it can turn into fascism. America.
Yeah.
But that's what I would take away from it.
Maybe this movie is more important.
Maybe we need to get everybody to watch it.
Yeah,
maybe talk about a Trump rally. Maybe we need to beam this in, and at the end when the horse jumps out, we could just go, "See? You dumb mother..."
Hey, thank you kindly for listening to us here on Redneck Matinee.
Whatever podcast place you're listening to this at, please give us a rating and a review.
And if you want to hear us cuss at Trump, go over to listen to us on the Red State Update podcast.
And if you really liked us, please go over to the Red State Update Patreon and give us a little jingle jangle.
Thank you kindly.
It was very good. I mean, that was very imaginative. Strode!